In the last part, we discussed the rebirth of Vegeta and how it happened, as well as the fate of planet Vegeta. He kept the identity a secret until Frieza began the process of destroying the planet, to which Vegeta quickly intervened and saved the planet. After that, Vegeta and his father started the beef around his crown. In this part, we're discussing Vegeta parting ways from his race. So let's continue. Vegeta says how this entire thing is pointless considering he basically used one of his most powerful forms to defeat Frieza when he really didn't have to. King Vegeta tries to shut up his son, asking him where his Saiyan pride is, but Vegeta says there's more to pride than just ruling a planet. Powering up the Power Ball and making a fake moon, King Vegeta transforms into Uzaru and tells his son that the true Saiyan power will never be different from what it is. Vegeta, knowing his control of Uzaru, goes and looks at the moon and he too transforms. Grabbing his father in an arm lock, he tells his father that he can use his Saiyan power at any time and that it hasn't been diminished, just honed into what it was always supposed to be. Whipping his tail, Vegeta punches his dad with it and sends him flying into the palace. Vegeta sees his father unconscious, and as a Saiyan policy, whoever defeated the king is the next king. However, he gives that title to Bardock, who has shown no fear against an aggressive and strong opponent such as Frieza. Also, sensing his power to be a touch higher than his father, he says that he is more than fitting to becoming the next king of the Saiyans and not to disrupt going to Kakarot because he doesn't want the future to change, as he has his own reasons. Instant transmissioning off planet, Vegeta goes straight to King Cold and meets up with him. King Cold is comfortably chilling in his own palace and sipping wine on his little chair. He greets Vegeta, asking him what he's doing here, and Vegeta gets straight to the point. He says that he will kill him where he stands, and Cold, as he doesn't really believe it, knowing that Frieza is taking care of him and training him to be an obedient little child. Vegeta says that he just killed Frieza and to skip the niceties. King Cold doesn't believe it and contacts a random scouter, to which a random ex-soldier responds that Prince Vegeta set them free and they're no longer ruled over by him, ending the conversation. King Cold is weirded out and then gets up from his seat, spilling the wine and starting the battle. Vegeta already calls out Cold for using only his second form and that if he's not a pussy, to release his final form, to which King Cold happily obliges and starts transforming into what seems to be the third form. Vegeta isn't impressed and already knows the tactics of theirs, showing him that it's not enough by smacking him back into his throne and leaving Cold shook. Cold is then forced to use 100% of his power, and he actually goes to power up fully, thinking that his 100% will allow him to win. However, Vegeta lets him know he can easily defeat him in base power, no matter how much more power he puts in. King Cold finishes the power up and goes to attack, only for Vegeta to tank the blow without even flinching or shedding a speck of blood. Vegeta then grabs Cold's arm and snaps it clean off, making King Cold back away in fear and also pleading for mercy. Vegeta isn't done yet though. He starts transforming into his ultra ego and making King Cold shit his pants at the sight of it. Vegeta finishes the transformation, flaring his aura and watching King Cold shiver in fear and back away every so often, continuously asking on how's this possible for a child to attain the power of destroyers, and even a Saiyan at that. He shares the same story that he did to his son, and that he's been reborn with memories and powers which he has accumulated on his own if everything went as per normal. King Cold calls it cap, but Vegeta calls out Beerus and how he trained him over in the timeline to become a destroyer, and that his best friend there has the power of an angel attendant. King Cold, in his final moments, is trying to fathom the knowledge before Vegeta raises his hand and doing a Hakai, destroying King Cold off for good. Vegeta, now satisfied with that, has a few more things to do, and one of which is to prevent what got him here in the first place from happening. So he goes to instant transmission over to planet Cereal, where the events unfolded there and sees the Heaters standing there, plotting their next attack. Vegeta instant transmissioning in the midst of it, thinking it was the Heaters that did the entire thing, goes right in the middle of the crowd and, while still in his Ultra Ego, absolutely obliterates everyone there with a one swift key explosion. As no one expected it, they were all pretty much vulnerable to it and all got blasted away into nothingness. Granola, still a child, doesn't know what's going on, but does recognize a Saiyan because of Vegeta's tail, wondering if Bardock sent a Saiyan warrior to help them out get rid of the tyranny. With Vegeta looking at the young Granola, he smiles to him, winks, and putting his fingers on his forehead, disappears into the smoke. Then there's one last misjustice that occurred and that Vegeta wants to fix. He searches for the energy of Broly, remembering it and instant transmissioning there. Over at Vampa, he sees Broly chilling out with Ba, as they're bonding quite well, with Paragus getting angry at the Beast for hanging out with Broly and not letting him train. Vegeta's towards Paragus, greeting him, and Paragus looks at Vegeta, then shouting out for Broly. Broly is there in an instant, ready for the fight, as he's rushing Vegeta. Vegeta simply paralyzes the young boy by grabbing his tail and telling Paragus that he isn't here to hurt him, but to correct the injustice his father did. Elaborating, saying that Frieza and King Cold are no more and that his father is not the king anymore, so all bans are lifted as a result and they're once again welcome back to planet Vegeta to live normally. Paragus doesn't believe it and calls cap on it. Paragus starts shooting him with a key gun he has on the waist, and as much as he thought he's gonna do something, Vegeta is just standing there and still in his Ultra Ego and just tanking every hit. Vegeta drops back to base and keeps on letting Paragus hit him, but nothing happens. Vegeta then goes in instant transmissions to get Paragus a spaceship to go back home, but ends up having a better idea. Since Paragus is still mad, he decides to leave Broly with Goku so that the two grow up together. Knowing Goku's innocent nature, he will be able to hone Broly into a good Saiyan comrade and actually someone civilized. Vegeta regrets it though when he leaves Broly with Goku, since he realized that Goku wasn't civilized nor is civilized as he grew up in the woods. In either case, he picks up a pod from planet Vegeta and brings it over to Paragus, saying that now he can travel back if he so wishes and instant transmissioning away from Wampa. Vegeta is now on a random planet, wondering on what to do and doesn't quite know what to do now that he's here. With all this knowledge and not being able to use it for good, Vegeta then decides to go over to Yardra to train up a bit more, to master every ability they have and also to live there. So he goes over to Yardra, but then he realizes that he is unknown there, so he has to make an impression. Meanwhile, Whis has arrived to planet Vegeta and looks around to see no one. He's questioning his sanity, knowing that he sensed the destroyer key in multiple places across the galaxy, all on different planets. He looks in his staff and seeks for anything regarding destroyer key. What he finds confuses him. A lone Saiyan kid using the power of the destroyers and even destroying Frieza, King Cold, and slaughtering some others. He looks a bit closer to recognize King Vegeta's son to be that lone Saiyan child. He's confused, but then seeks for the key signature and finds it on planet Yardra, so he quickly rushes there. Vegeta in the meantime didn't need much to befriend the Yardradians, especially considering the fact that he's shown them their own techniques, so he became quite liked there. He wanted to get a bit of training from them and they were quite happy to do so, up until Whis came around and greeted the Saiyan ex-prince. Vegeta recognizes Whis and is quite respectful, knowing that Whis only knows him from planet Vegeta. Whis is confused as to how Vegeta knows all that he displayed, including the Yardradian techniques. But Vegeta wants to take it someplace safe because he doesn't want to leak these kinds of things in front of regular mortals. Whis weirdly agrees, and so they arrive on Beerus' world using Vegeta's instant transmission. Vegeta then starts the explanation. We're continuing the series next time. While you wait for the next part, join the T23 Discord server with the vanity URL down in the description. Thank you for watching, and with that, peace out.